Hello there, YouTube. I am doing a short video. This is a practice run for my next project, and I am using some vintage quilting fabrics. Some of them are older than my grandson, who's an RN. I am making these individual blocks. I'm making Freeform Drunkard's pad.
Congratulations! You're a mother! Mother?
Then I'm sewing 4 of them together with some sashing in between and a cornerstone in the center. That is the quilt. Putting probably 2.5 inch, maybe 3 inch sashing in between, and probably black because this is pretty wild. The fabrics for our next project are all of these solids, and probably black or dark blue or dark purple. But this is the trial run, and I figured I could use it as a charity quilt when I'm done. I am going to one more row, and I have 3 pieces of fabric that I have taken over to my cutting board. I'm starting with a 10-inch square, so this is good for layer cakes. So what I've done here, I've taken 3 pieces of 10-inch fabric, and I have freeform cut the curves, and then I have just swapped the fabric. So there you go. Here's that fabric. There's that fabric. There you go. And now I'm just going to be sewing them together. Okay. As you can see here, I have crease marks going down the center of each piece, and that's to line these pieces up. So I don't pin. I try not to pin much at all because I end up stabbing myself every time without fail. I don't pin. I don't use clips because I can't find them. I just kind of wing it. These are freeform curves. They're not difficult, and if they're a little off, who's going to know? What I like to do is I like to just kind of get into a meditative state, and I just roll with it. I do a few stitches at a time, and they work. Some people say to put the concave curve on the bottom. Others say put the convex curve on the bottom. I just do it the way whatever is working for me. And at the moment, what I am doing is I am matching up the creases in the center. And you're saying, well, that's not going to go together, Melissa. But it will. Trust me. You're going to start by putting your needle down, and you're going to keep your needle down like so. And you're going to take a few stitches. That's it. Nothing big. My presser foot will lift up for me, and then I'm going to take, this is the far more stretchy than this. The convex is more stretchy. So all I'm doing is just looking for the edge of the bottom piece, and then I'm lifting and I'm lining up the edge, taking a few more stitches. Just sneak up on it. Don't panic. This is not difficult at all. If I can do it, you can do it. So I'm just working it around the curve. Just a few stitches at a time. Put on an audiobook. Put on some music. Have a cup of tea. Just chillax. And now you're saying, but Melissa, you only did half the seam. Now what are you going to do? So there's half the seam. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it upside down. That's why it doesn't really matter. It's on curve is where. Okay, we're going to start again. Go a few stitches. There we go. Line it up. Line it up. Line it up. see, it fit. And this seam will lay down very nicely and flat. These want to fold to the larger size. So I just iron it down, and yes, you will have excess over here, and that's basically so you can trim things down. I've cut these down to 10 inches to start with, and then I trim them down individually to 8 inches. And then I sew the 8-inch blocks together with the sashing and the cornerstones. We're going to do the same thing again. We're going to match up that crease that's right there with this crease. So I'm just taking a few stitches, and now I'm picking this piece up and I'm pulling it back to reveal the edge of the other piece. Okay, that's half the seam. Now we're going to do the same thing again from to other side. There we go. There is the block. So now I take my ruler, my square ruler, and the target is 8 inches. That will give me plenty of room. Before, I was cutting down to 9 inches before sewing, then sewing them and then trimming down to 8 inches. But I found that, I'm sorry about, there's a glare. Can't do anything about the glare. I found that in these corners, a lot of the times this piece of fabric would dip in. So I was being shortchanged. So that's why I left them at 10 inches to start. So the target is 8 inches. So what I'm doing is, if you look here, you see how much that's cut off? But that's my 8-inch line. So I'm missing 1/4 of an inch. So that's why I said I need more wiggle room. So now I just take the 8-inch mark to the nearest edge. And I'm going to try and center it so that this 45-degree line heads towards the corner. There we go. So now I'm going to trim this side. Okay. Save these for your woven blocks for your fidget quilts. And now we do the final trim. And now, if you see here, I have nothing poking out. So that's where I was coming up short. So there you have that. And I did iron, and I ironed it this way. And that's the way it likes to lay. Okay, we have our blocks laid out here for the 3rd row. They are just stacked on each other in the order that I'm going to be sewing. So I'll take the first layer and put it together, the second layer, and then the 3rd layer. And I'm going to chain piece. Which is the sashing and cornerstone. First block, first row off. row. Third row. Now that is all the blocks, all the rows sewn together, and I'm leaving these little threads here to hold them. And now I unfold everything, and I am flipping the center row with the seam allowance tucked in, and I am doing the block rows with the seam allowance out. Rotate everything, and the little thread just helps hold everything together, and these seams will now nest. Okay, now we do the next. And once again, the seam allowances is nesting, locking it in for us. Got a little fullness here. And when you're matching seams and stuff, if you have a little bit of fullness, what you can do is you can kind of like hold the fabric back, you know, provide a little counter tension here. The feed dogs will help drag the fabric out for you, and it'll suck up the fullness. I'm going to pick up this end. There we go. And now all the fullness is gone. So that is our block. I'm going to go press it. So there we have it, YouTube. All the blocks are sewn together, and now it's just going to be a simple task to put the sashing in and sew everything together. So this is just a quick look-see into our next project. This one I'm doing in scrap fabrics. Some of them are all vintage, somewhere between 20 and 40 years old. And the ones at the bottom are just scraps from my scrap bin. And there's Mr. Dinky. He approves. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And for heaven's sakes, ring that little ding-a-ling for me. I will talk to you soon. God bless.